This is a good one, y'all. One I've been super interested in. Mongoose has a new hardtail, and I have to say, it looks pretty dang good. This is the all-new Mongoose Switchback Expert. But before we hit the trails and see what this thing can do, I gotta go get my gears figured out because my derailleur is all out of whack. I want to give a huge thanks to the guys at Trek, always taking care of me no matter what bike I bring in there. I really appreciate it. If you're ever in the Boulder, Colorado area, make sure you go check out the new Trek store. They have a new location and it's huge. Now Mongoose considers this bike as a true mountain bike, but when I saw this, I was a little bit skeptical. But let's see if they can prove us wrong. Now this bike looks pretty good. It comes equipped with 100mm XCE28 Suntour fork, WTB Trail Boss tires. It comes with the Microshift Acolyte derailleur, and it's stopping you with nut brakes and 160mm rotors. Back in the day, Mongoose used to be one of the top dogs in the bike industry, and if you had a Mongoose, you were one of the cool kids. But recently, they haven't had the greatest reputation, but now they are taking GT's spot with the new Dick's Sporting Good partnership, and I'm excited to see them trying to seriously get into the entry-level mountain bike scene. I want to be fully transparent. I had my doubts about this bike initially, and I was even thinking about leaving my initial thoughts out of the video, but I wanted to keep them in and be fully honest about why I started to see things differently about this bike mid-ride. So make sure you stick around to the end.
Now let me tell you, I had my doubts about this bike for a second because the gearing was all messed up, the shifting was just all out of whack. But now that I got that dialed in, thanks to the guys at Trek, I really appreciate it. The gears are shifting smoothly. Oh, this thing is nice.
If you notice, you can see me looking down right there, and that's because I was getting a lot of chain slap. So I was trying to see if I dropped the chain or not.
All right, now we're starting to figure out this bike's limitations. All right, let's talk about a few things with this bike because I've noticed some things that at $699, I feel like that's decent price, but I think it might be a little bit too high for what you get with this bike. And let me tell you why. I've been getting a lot of chain slap. This does have a clutch on it, but for some reason I've been getting a lot of chain slap. There's no frame protection on it, so if you're getting a lot of chain slap on this bike, it's really gonna damage the frame and scratch it up. And this bike does look pretty good, so you don't want to be scratching it up. Now, I will admit, pedaling this bike and just going straight and riding smooth trails, it feels really good. It feels high quality. But when you get on the bumpy stuff, this fork is not good at all. Let me be honest. But what's great about this bike is that it has a tapered head tube, and it's some bikes in this range, including like the Trek Marlin series in this price range, that doesn't have a tapered head tube. So the thing that this bike has going for it is if you put a nice fork on this bike, somehow get this chain to stop slapping around everywhere and get some frame protection, I think this bike could be a beast if I'm being honest. With the 1x8 drivetrain, it feels like I have a wide gear range and I don't feel limited at all. That's why I'm kind of indifferent about the price, because at $699, you get a pretty good frame for that price, but you really have to upgrade some parts to really get the full potential out of this bike. One other thing that I've noticed, these nut brakes, I don't really like them. I mean, maybe you can bed them in a little bit better or get a bigger rotor. These are only 160 millimeter rotors. This bike is listed as a mountain bike, so they say you can handle aggressive trails with this bike, but how it's constructed, I feel like you would have to be an experienced rider to be able to offset the disadvantages this bike has. It feels good and it has potential if you upgrade it. But stock, I mean, I feel like the brakes and the fork, you gotta switch those out. So let me know, at $699, do you think this bike is worth it? I like the frame, I'll be honest. And say you got a Trek Marlin, you can't upgrade the fork to a nicer fork because there's no tapered head tube. I mean, there's some nice forks out there that you can get with the straight steerer, but to get the high quality, you need a tapered head tube. So let me know. Now that you have my initial impressions on this bike, let me tell you why I think this is a strong competitor in the entry-level mountain biking space. Because as I rode this bike and thought about what's on the bike and what it's capable of, it really hit me. And I've been seeing a lot of people commenting saying this bike is Trek Marlin price range and stuff. So I have a lot of experience with the Trek Marlin, and this was actually a great topic to bring up because I love the Trek Marlin, but I think the mongoose is actually built for a mountain biker more so than the Trek Marlin, because you can upgrade the fork to a nicer fork because it has a tapered head tube. When I'm riding this bike, I actually feel like I'm on a mountain bike. I feel like I'm on a mountain bike with the Trek Marlin, but I'm just saying the mongoose, it feels like a mountain bike. Neither one of those bikes are tubeless compatible. You can still do it, but it's risky. They both have quick releases front and rear, and the Trek Marlin does come with better brakes and a little bit better drivetrain. I think a couple more gears. But I think as far as if you're a serious mountain biker and $700 or $699 is all you got to spend, and you say, hey, I want this bike and I don't plan to buy anything else for a while, I want to upgrade this until I can't anymore, I actually think the mongoose might be a better option for you, because I've been actually looking at Marzocchi forks to put on this mongoose, and you can't do that on the Marlin. So as far as the bike being built for progression, the mongoose is actually better. But if you want something out of the box and you want something to hold you over until you can get a better mountain bike, then the Marlin would be a better option. And neither one has a dropper post, and the mongoose is internal cable routing, so you do have the option to put a dropper post on the mongoose, so it's really not limited. I would say the only thing limited this mongoose is the quick release rear. That's the only thing. If it had a through axle, I mean, I would no question hands down pick the mongoose. So I don't think either one of them are better than the other. I think it's personal preference. Do you want to upgrade the bike and keep it for a long time, or do you want a bike that's good out of the box that you can ride right away and then you can just get another bike down the road? So that's my opinion on the whole situation. Let me know what you think. All right, let's take it down some of this stuff. It might get a little chunky. You can probably hear the chain slap. Another thing is this bike is not tubeless compatible, so you can't run tubeless on this. You would have to get new wheels unless you rig it up. I mean, there is ways to do it without it being compatible, but it's risky. Yeah, this chain slap is crazy. Yeah, let me admit, I am not confident on this bike right now, on this trail, because it's just too, the suspension is just not built for this. I can feel my front wheel bouncing everywhere because the suspension is not dialed. There's no adjustments. So like this stuff right here, perfect for it. But once you start hitting roots and rocks, definitely wasn't made for that. Which is crazy because they advertise it as a mountain bike. I mean, I guess technically this is mountain biking,